Okay, I'm back. I'll start out with showing you this is the uphill side, part of the uphill side of what we intend to fence in, keep our pigs in. It's hard to see from here. There is a little bit of a ravine over there, a gully, I guess you could say. I've hardly ever seen water run down it. But there is what looks like an old road down in there. My grandfather bought this place, 160 acres back in the 40s, and it slowly got whittled down, and the roughly 20 acres that we're on is what my mom inherited. She lives here at the house with us. It's technically her land, her house, but we pay all the utilities, pay the property taxes, like that. We're in eastern Washington County, northwest Arkansas. Here's the shot that I wanted to show you. There's the house. That gives you an idea of what kind of a drop. You can see the electric lines there. We're not off grid. That gives you an idea of what kind of a drop that there is to this. See the hills off in the distance there. Now there's something I want to point out. Those cedar trees. We have lots and lots, and as we go through this second part of the tour, you're going to see them. Lots and lots of cedar trees. We'd like to get rid of them. A lot of them, when they come out, that's going to help a lot with the silvo pasture up here. As you can see, we're all wooded here. You see that stump in the distance there? We had a logging company come in, back late summer. I don't remember exactly when. So we got quite a mess going on. We wanted to get some money off the land, harvest some of these oats before they died. There's I think it's a beetle or something that's going around and it's killing a lot of the, some people say red oaks, some say white oaks. I haven't looked into it. But as you can see, they came through, left a lot behind when they took the logs out. You'll see more of that as we go through here. Scarred up some of the trees, other trees that are left. And we'll be cleaning that up. And I'll saw it up for firewood and make some money off of it. Make a solution out of a problem. But the cedars, they'll help a lot just getting those out. That's going to give us a lot of silvo pasture, just them alone. Never mind taking out some of these smaller trees so we can give some of these bigger ones room to grow. And the idea there is, in another 20 years, there's going to be more of them to harvest. Get some more money off the land. And the idea is not to take out the forest or clear cut it, but to manage it. One of the problems we run into that I didn't realize, and I'm still not sure if we can find them here locally, there are people called timber brokers. And they will come in and they will find a logging company and negotiate a contract for you and get you good money, because they take a cut of it, 10 to 15% as I understand. So it's in their interest. But they'll make sure that the logging company doesn't take any trees you don't want taken out. Of course, there's some. You get a tree like that one right there that's split. They don't really want that kind of thing. So that's something to think of in the future. But these cedar trees, what we're going to do with those is some of them are pretty big. A lot of them are big enough for posts. And cedar, these are eastern red cedar. Cedars are they're really rot resistant. So our bigger ones, and this one, I could get some lumber out of that probably. We'll make boards, make lumber, and we'll side our buildings with them. And then, oh look, there goes some deer. Probably just barely see them on the camera. We've got plenty of does, especially here. But we'll rough cut those, use them for siding since they're so rot resistant. Use the others for posts. So a lot of our buildings are going to be post buildings. Now we're almost at the edge. As you can see, there's Kind of see through the trees, neighbor's house. Oh, there's another deer there. Don't know if you can see that or not. Oh, where is she? There she goes, right there. There are a little bit of pests around here. But we're kind of at another edge of our property. It runs pretty much that direction. That's north. And somewhere right in this area, probably clear some of these trees out, I'd like to put a shop. I want to do some woodworking and learn some blacksmithing. Not just knives, but just practical stuff, handles and hinges and, you know, things like that. We've got pretty booming house trade here in northwest Arkansas, thanks to, I don't know, Walmart and who knows what else. And I'm hoping that I can show you some aerial footage of the place. The trick to that is, for those of you that don't know, right now I'm filming with my camera, my cell phone I mean. It's a new one we just got. It's a Note 20 Ultra. Yeah, just ahead of the new 21s coming out, but that's okay. I like it. It gives me a lot more control. So we'll be using this for quite a while. My other one, the battery was starting to go on it. Plus this gives us a lot more control over the camera settings in this one. But if you want to do aerial footage, put it on a YouTube channel, anything like that. The FAA says you have to have a Part 107 unmanned aerial vehicle, or aerial, I can't remember the exact term, but you have to have a pilot's license is what it boils down to. So once I get that, we'll get you some drone footage of this place. I've got the drone. I'll learn how to fly it in the meantime and just fly it recreationally. But that's just a little something to let you know. And as far as me using a cell phone, hey folks, if you're wanting to start a YouTube channel, you've got a really good camera that you carry around with you all the time. This one's probably better than some because I can do 30 frames a second. The still camera, I can take 108 megapixel photos. But anyway, to continue with the tour, this is the loading area. This is where they loaded. They had a loader sitting roughly right in there, and they would drag all the logs with a log skidder, big log skidder, up out of the woods to this area, and the truck would sit right here in the driveway. And more on that driveway here in a second, but the truck would sit in the driveway and they would load the logs on it and out it would go. And this is a big pile of stuff that's left over. We want to get a chipper in here, a shredder, chip and shred all that up, and we can use that for compost and bedding. It's all hardwood, so it'll make good mixed bedding. Some of it will probably go in the raised beds, the hugelkultur raised beds. Another thing that I was going to point out, it's talking about the driveway. When we get a lot of rain, and you can kind of see how it does. Water runs down this driveway. It's almost like a little creek. You can see right here one of the paths, or at least I hope you can. So the idea is it all comes from that direction, and it'll run all the way down to the driveway. We want to put, besides the shop and barn type thing right there, we want to put a pond, hold that water. Again, we have a water problem up here. It's one of the things we're facing. And all of this is what we want to turn into silvopasture. All the way down that direction, and you'll see more of it as I go through. And we're going to have some over here too. This area right here, now it's getting clear, we want to get some fruit and nut trees in since they take so long. So we'll move on down through here. Now as you can see from the green, like I said, lots of cedars. And a lot of them are, especially up towards the top, they're just the right size for posts. Posts for our fences, posts for our buildings. Of course, there's, again, lots of cleanup to do. Now, this area right here, try not to pan too fast, make you sick to your stomach. This area right here under this walnut with the ribbon on it, this is where we intend to put our rabbit building, for lack of a better term. The reason for that is we're going to have the American chinchilla breed, and they're about a 10-pound rabbit as an adult. And walnut trees, and this is a grand old walnut here. Walnut trees, they kind of have their own little ecosystem under them, and they're a lot cooler. And rabbits have trouble, they don't, as long as they're not in direct wind and they're not wet, they're actually comfortable, most comfortable with temperatures in the 40s, but cold doesn't bother them nearly so much as heat. We don't even intend to breed during the summer. Of course, if you don't know anything about rabbits, rabbits have a 28-day cycle. I believe if you start with a buck and 2 does and just breed them and breed them, if I remember right, you can have 100 or 200 rabbits within a year. So yes, that old adage about rabbits is true. So we want to put them here where it's good and shady and cool in the summer. Probably leave some shade over there because that's the east and the south, so the sun's going to be slanting from that direction. So I don't want to take out too much over there. That way they'll have shade during the summer months. More cedars there. Well, this was a good way to start with our chickens. We actually had a rental coop. We've gotten rid of that so we don't have to pay for it anymore. And we built these hoop coops. We got this idea from Living Traditions Homestead. I watched those videos, I don't know how many times, where they built these. And I'll reiterate what Kevin does on there. If you're a carpenter who likes everything to be exact, don't build one of these. I'm not a really good carpenter, but I can tell you, as you can see, that door isn't plumb with the frame. Part of that was my fault, just because I'm inexperienced. These chickens here are Delawares. They were the production chicken before the Cornish cross that we know now that you can pick up in the store. The advantage to these guys, and you can see the 2 roosters there, they're big birds. I like to joke that they're like small turkeys. That you see in there under the plastic is some more chicks that we incubated, and we've got some more down at the house. But the Delawares were the production birds. We've got them separated first. So we're propagating that flock. And the other coop has a mixture of Dorkings. That's a Dorking there on the roost. And what's called the white-faced black Spanish. The white-faced black Spanish, and then you can see our one little Polish buff there. The white-faced black Spanish they're supposed to be some of the first chickens that came to the New World, so they're an old breed. And then the Dorkings, it's said that the Romans brought them to England. Now the problem we have with these coops, and maybe it's where they're setting, it's hard to keep their bedding dry. And our goal with them is in this area here, and you can see there's a really nice big cedar right there. We have lots of lumber out of that. And there's another one right back there that's at least as big. But we're going to come out into this area, and we're going to build one big house for all 3 breeds. Each one will have an 8x8 coop that they housed in. We'll access it from the road here. They'll have a storage area on the back, feed and such. And then I'll clear out this stuff, and the runs will come out in here where you can see all these smaller trees. And this faces east, that'll get them some sunlight. Keep them shaded in the summer. Leaves a lot of these trees in too, on down there. That'll keep them shaded in the summer. But as the foliage comes off, and especially once these cedars are out, in the winter they'll get the benefit of that sun warming up the coop. And again, chickens are pretty cold hardy. So, you know, it's not, as long as you can keep the wind blocked. Our winds tend to prevail sort of out of the west. That's why I have plastic on that one. It's facing southwest roughly. And I don't on that one because it's got the plastic on the end. It really doesn't need it to block it, but we just wanted to block that a little more. And as you can see, there's old implements from my dad's old tractor and some other stuff laying around that's got to come up and out and be put somewhere. I don't want to just get rid of these. That's a harrower, I believe. Cultivator, I guess. And then there's a grader blade over there. This area right here, clean it out. And this is going to have a greenhouse in it. It's going to have a walkway down the middle of plywood, and underneath that, I hope to have vermicomposting. Give some of the worms to the chickens as it goes along. Grow greens in there, throw them to greens, because right here where you see that barrel sitting on that old camper shell, we're going to have our laying house. Now the other house I just told you about is our breed house, our breeding house, because we hope to sell some chicks from the pure breeds and propagate these, because like I said, they're all pretty endangered or critical depending on the breed. But this is where we'll cull out the smaller ones that don't meet breed standard. Probably have a rooster, maybe two, just for the flock social hierarchy. I've been reading that chickens will do better with a rooster even if you never use the rooster to have more chicks, so we probably will, just to keep the laying flock going. And I'm sure there'll be some of the others that will cull smaller birds out. Most breeds these days, people don't know it, but most of these heritage breeds, they're not up to the original breed standard. They're not as big, not colored as well. So we're going to work on size first, and then we'll work on the markings to get them up there, because that's what we've read is supposed to be good for them. And that spot you saw, I forgot to tell you, this spot where the coops are, that was my mom's garden. We're going to use it. We're going to put the raised beds in it. The problem is it's on the north slope. And just as an aside, right here in this little cleared area was where we're going to move our quail to. Keep them enclosed as well, out of the wind and everything. And we have coyotes around here, so we don't want them getting in there. But right in this area, where you see this thicket of trees, right in that area, because it's on the south slope, we want to put another garden plot. Take advantage of that south slope. I don't know just how big it is, we haven't decided yet. But the advantage to that is we're going to have a chicken run. And if you want to get an idea of what it'll look like, go to Justin Rhodes' channel and look at the one he has in front of his house. And that's what we want here. And with the garden right here handy, we can take greens from that garden spot, take them across the road, give them to the breeders. Take the, I don't really like that term, but it's the best one I know of. And then take greens from this one and give it to our laying flock. Of course, we're going to make a pretty decent coop there. So the idea, the reason that I want to put the coop right here and the greenhouse right there is because in the winter, they can be in one end of the greenhouse and stay warm. We'll put bedding down in there. Again, go see Justin Rhodes, some of his latest videos. He's got his chickens there right now in a greenhouse. Now we're coming toward the end of the property, the other edge of the property. And I had thought about down on this end possibly putting another pond, but if we can divert all the water from up there into that pond. My idea originally was to have the two ponds, a pond up there, a pond down here, and this one just catches all the rest of the water, runs some water lines back up to that pond with a solar powered pump to pump the water back up to that pond. And then we can use gravity from that end of the property, because this is all downhill. We can use gravity from that end of the property to bring water down into our pastures and gardens and coops. Won't be a lot of pressure, but good gravity flow. So I'm not sure if we're going to do another pond here, but there is an area on this east side of the driveway going down the hill that, once again, it's steep. It's not really usable. I may clear out some of the smaller stuff, let the bigger stuff grow out some more, spread out some more, because that's the way the old forests were around here. The settlers, when they come in, I've heard that it was said you could ride on a horse underneath any of these trees and not have the hat knocked off your head. But this land, it's too steep. It's not going to be good for much else. So I'll probably put in food plots for the deer, as well as we're going to try to grow what Joel Salatin calls rabbitats. The idea behind that is give the rabbits someplace to eat, to live and congregate, and the coyotes and other predators will find them there, and they'll leave your domestic animals not completely alone. That's a pipe dream there, but maybe more alone if they've got, and it's working with nature. It's permaculture, and permaculture is the way we want to design this place. So anyway, there's a tour of the place. You'll have more coming in the future. Hopefully they won't be quite as long as this one. But it takes a little bit to cover the land, and my wife tells me I'm bad to ramble. So I'll try to keep a little more on point in the future. But I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if you like this, hit that like button. Subscribe to our channel, help us grow so we can bring you more of this content. We're trying to get this farm up and going. My wife's working off the farm. I work here. I'm working here on the farm. We do find it's a lot better that way because I can have the chores done. We're not up to dark or later getting chores done and eating, and then not having much relaxation time in the evening. And of course things are fairly slow right now because it's winter. That's the way it is on a farm. But we want to get some income coming in. I won't lie to you. But we also want to educate you. We're going to bring you along, and we're going to talk to you and show you things, show you what we've learned. You'll see our mistakes, and you'll see our successes. The biggest thing I want to put forth before I close completely, a lot of the other channels out there that we like to watch, the Holler Homestead, Sow the Land, Weed 'em and Reap, some of those guys, Morgan, Goldshaw Farm, they're doing this, and I applaud them. I really do. Let me flip you around here so I can talk to you. They have, I'm 55, my wife's 49. I'll be 56 in April. We don't have the energy, and as you can see, I'm a little overweight, a little tired looking. We don't have the energy that the younger guys do. I mean, we watch these channels and we get pretty envious of them, seeing what they can do. But, you know, the idea is if we can do this, you can do this. Don't let the situation you're in keep you from chasing your dream. You can't do it all at once. You got to take steps. You know, you can't just jump out there. We're lucky here. We don't have a mortgage. We don't have this. All we have is the property taxes on this place. So we don't have to worry about a mortgage. So, you know, that's we realize we have that advantage, and we have a pretty good little plot of land to work with, even though it's very challenging with what has to be done to it. But don't let, I mean, here we are, we're older. We're an older couple. We both grew up on a farm. I swore I'd never come back and do it again. I've lots of respect, mad respect for farmers. But because I'd seen what it was like, I didn't want to do it again myself. But here I am, really enjoying it. And of course, this isn't traditional farming. We're doing homesteading. Maybe turn it into a farmstead. We'd like to get other revenue off of it. We intend to have another channel, just to let you know. That's a sort of a travel channel, but it's going to be all centered on things in the Ozarks, in Arkansas and Missouri, the edge of Oklahoma, things like that. So watch for that one. It's going to be called Ozark Trek. I can't remember if we left the S on it. I'd have to look. I'll let you know. But this is the first real video for our farm here. And I've rambled on long enough, but I just want to let you know, don't let whatever your circumstances are, don't let them get you down, okay? Because we're doing this. It's not easy. It's hard for me to get motivated a lot of days, but we're doing it. We're out here in the cold. We're out here in the rain. My wife loves it when she gets to do some chores. She's going to be the bigger gardener than I am. But I definitely will be helping. And we want you guys to come along on the journey with us. So hit that like, subscribe to the channel, and come back and see us. And we'll talk to you later. Thanks.